Hi guys, welcome to, this is episode 7 of Live on a Tuesday at 4. I need to come up with a better name than that. This week I'm sat with Liv here.
Hello.
So Liv is a genuine real life influencer. She has almost hit 100,000 followers on Instagram. She's worked with brands like Superdry, Decathlon. Who else have you worked with, Liv?
Lots of yoga brands that I think if you weren't into yoga, you'd probably not have heard of them. But because my page is predominantly yoga based, I work with yoga brands such as clothing or mats or anything that people into health and fitness might be interested in.
That's good. So I'm sorry, every week I do this, something goes wrong. And I can't see that it's gone live on YouTube yet. So if you're in the comments and you can hear us and see us, could you just let us know? Because this is a nightmare setting these things up, especially when they're in person.
The screens are over here, which is
So Liv is an educator on, here we are, we're live, thank you.
Hey.
So Liv is an educator on Instagram. I'm going to show you some of her page now, and she does educational posts on different poses and so on. So you just want to tell us about how you got into Instagram to start off with and your sort of journey up to 100,000.
Yeah, so my Instagram was just my personal page to begin with. It was just, I'd upload what I was, it was 5 years ago now. 4 years I've been on Instagram. So it was just my personal page. And then I got into yoga and found Instagram accounts on yoga, and I would follow those. And then I saw these things called yoga challenges where people, or teachers really, would post, right, you're going to do this pose today, and people would copy, people would post their version of, and there'd be whole little communities doing the same thing. So my page just started as somebody learning to do yoga, participating in these sort of challenges. I was really, really into it. So some days I would be posting like 5 or 6 photos of all these different poses, all these different challenges. The challenges, you have opportunities to win like free leggings or a free yoga mat, which, some stuff's really expensive. So it's a good incentive to take part. So it just started as me learning and doing yoga. And I guess it just grew. It was never an intention. It was never, particularly in the first instance, it was never something I tried to do. It just sort of grew, and it wasn't until my account was around perhaps 15,000 followers that I was like, oh, there's quite a few people following me now, and feeling a little bit more watched at that point, and thinking, oh, I wonder what I could make of this account. So it kind of accidentally became an influencer account, and obviously the more attention I gave to it to put out good quality content and share good quality stuff, the more it grew.
So let's start with Instagram, because this whole episode today is kind of comparing Instagram and YouTube together to work out which one's best. YouTube is better than Instagram, because Instagram's just pictures. But let's just find out about it anyway before I completely.
Well, that's incorrect. But
well, it's correct. So how did you get from 0 to 100,000 followers? Was this something that, did you go viral?
No, nothing ever went viral. I wish. It was very much, I started Instagram before the algorithm changed, and therefore where growth was a little bit easier, because timelines were chronological. So as long as someone followed you, they would see what you posted as long as they opened their app. So it's been kind of slow growth, but I think the thing with Instagram is it can snowball. So once you have a certain number of followers, as it grows, people come to your page and they see more credibility because more people follow you, which is kind of unfair, because just because loads of people follow you doesn't mean what you're sharing is good or correct or whatever. But things gain pace the more followers you have. But also, as I was saying, you kind of put more effort in as well, because you realize that you are speaking to a lot of people, and you want to make sure that I like to make sure that what I'm sharing is accurate and safe and useful. So, the more effort I put into making my posts visually appealing as well as educational, the more likely you can start getting reposted by other accounts, and that just helps your account grow and grow, I guess.
So I didn't mention at the start, but you're in the yoga sector, which hopefully people
I'm
noticed.
a yoga teacher.
It's not just bendy, so there's more of a purpose than
not just
that.
strong and bendy.
No, not just strong and sorry. So you've got a following now. what happens along the way? Like what good has come out of it for you personally and for your own yoga business by having a large following?
So first sort of perks, perhaps you would say, to the account were when brands would start to reach out to me and want to give me their things to either wear or use. It was before, I know more recently, the guidance on ads has really sort of cracked in, and you have to stipulate what's an ad. But in the early days when my Instagram was growing, brands just wanted to send you stuff so that sort of on the side you might wear it, and then when people asked you where it was from, you would share about that. So the first perks were freebies, but you know, there's only as my account grew and sort of you realise what you're worth, you then start getting offers from brands or companies, or maybe even marketing companies who are representing brands. They will reach out and say, are you interested in running a promotion for this? And they're paid promotions, so you can start. That's when I started being able to earn money from the platform. What else was within your question? Was that it? I think that was it.
Will bring me back on the screen whilst I'm flicking through. That was it. Thank you. That was a good answer. And what about for your own personal business then? So there's the sort of influencer side of things.
My yoga teaching.
Yeah. So how have you managed to generate business from Instagram for your business?
Well, being obviously having a platform to share content to, I always tag geographically where I am, even if it has absolutely nothing to do with being in the local area. I tag it so that people who to reach more people locally, so that my actual yoga classes where I teach in real life, I can find more people and they can come across to me. And I think having my page as an educational page just gives my teaching that little bit more credibility. I'm not just saying, I teach yoga, come along and see if I know what I'm talking about. I'm kind of saying, look, I know what I'm talking about. Why don't you come to a class? So I think it has helped bring real life people to my classes. But because Instagram is such a global platform, and you don't get the statistics of, you know, how many people in Hemel Hempstead follow you. It's not always proportional. So just because your following is growing doesn't mean your local followers is growing. So it's a little bit of an unsure one sometimes of how much local reach you're getting.
So it's good. So even though you've got a lot of people, it's not necessarily targeted for your local service.
Not at all, no. A lot of people come to my classes and then find my Instagram account and be like, oh, didn't know you shared all this. I was like, yeah, I've done that for a long time. So
yeah, that's the problem a lot of the time, is people get told by their rubbish marketing companies that they need to be on certain platforms, and then they need to grow a big reach. But often platforms like Instagram may or may not be right, which we'll get into in a bit later on, because
I'll hold back that.
You're an Insta fan. I'm an Insta dislike intensely, but has to go on it.
No, I am an Instagram fan. I think it does have its place and it is useful, but I know where its drawbacks are as well.
So do I. Okay, so obviously there is a point of growing a nice big following on Instagram. So let's talk through different ways people at the moment, whether or not they've got a YouTube channel or a business, what works best on Instagram itself. So first question, let's talk through carousels and just describe to people what a carousel post is and how they work and if they're good or bad. I'm going to show it on screen.
So a carousel post, for those that are not on the Instagram know,
fans. That's the new saying now.
Fans are posts where you can swipe through. So there'll be a cover picture or video and you swipe across and there's another one, you swipe across, there's another one. And these are really popular on Instagram. I don't want to jump the gun with what I'm saying, but Instagram is an entertainment platform. You know, you can educate via there, but predominantly people are on Instagram to be entertained. If you think about yourself when you browse Instagram, the likelihood is it's whilst you're drinking your coffee in the morning or just before you go to bed. You know, it's sort of mindless. And so having something where you can quickly take a piece of information on slide 1 and then swipe across to slide 2, these do really well because every time somebody engages with your post on Instagram, that gives Instagram a little tick. It says, oh, this whatever this person has posted is popular. People are interested in it. So engagement is likes, it's comments, but it's also swipes. So if you can have up to 10 posts in a carousel. 10 videos or photos. So if somebody swipes through to all 10, that's 10 little zaps of engagement that your post has just received. So not only are they good for your page because you get that engagement, and good engagement, the reason it's useful is because Instagram's lovely algorithm these days, you have to try and win. You have to try and tell Instagram to put your content out there, otherwise it will not really show it to anybody. So carousels are really good because you're almost forcing engagement, because if you can capture that that sort of what am I looking for? If your first slide captures someone, they're like, oh, what's all this about? You can quickly get quite a bit of engagement by sharing either other information or slightly different photos in the swipe alongs. So they're good.
Let's just have a little dive into audience participation, because I like to try and include the people that bother to turn up to these things, rather than not watching it later. Can you just read out Walter's World's comment there? I think it's a really good point.
Walter's World. I've spoken with a lot of firms.
Could you read it out sideways, talking to the
yes.
mic?
I've spoken with a lot of firms that they don't have to be on 50 different social media platforms. It takes time and a bit of explanation, and then they start to understand why they should focus. And then I believe the comment has been cut off.
Okay, well, it's a great point that you've made there, and it's something that from on the video marketing side, we see our clients get told to be on every platform rather than just focus. What do you think would have happened to you if you'd spent your time on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram in the start? Do you think you'd have made it where you are?
It depends. If you're a one-man band, that's a lot of platforms.
Or a one-woman yoga teacher.
That's a lot of platforms to try and stretch yourself between. I have found many a time with just one single platform that I have felt overwhelmed at trying to keep up with the things that you learn that you have to do: consistency, quality content, engaging with your followers, answering questions, answering DMs. So I feel like if you are a small, you don't have a social media manager who's doing all of this, to have lots of multiple platforms. Obviously there's benefits in, you're giving yourself more little routes or channels to potentially reach new business, but I feel that if you stretch yourself too thin in all different directions, you're just going to put poor quality content in more directions rather than good quality in one.
Yeah, it's interesting, because when I first met you just on Instagram, and then I convinced you to go on YouTube.
Oh, my life's not been the same since.
You used to have a life, and now you just make content. So going over two, even to do two properly, is a massive stretch.
It's a lot of work.
So let's get back to what's working on Instagram. So we've spoken about carousels.
Mm-hmm.
How would you rate carousels out of 10 for effectiveness, for reach and engagement?
I never like to give anything 10 out of 10, but high. Let's go for an 8.5 to 9.
Okay, so the carousels are good,
but only if what you're putting out is good.
We'll leave that as the default for everything. So
okay,
anything rubbish.
Okay, if it's rubbish, it's rubbish.
It doesn't matter how you put it out. You can fly it around in a private jet. You're still flying around rubbish. So just regular pictures then. Talk us through them.
That's what Instagram's platform started at, was just photos. If you've been on it long enough, you'll remember when they bought videos, like, oh, I can share a 15-second video. Which
was crazy, because YouTube had been around for ages, so I don't know why that was so impressive.
Well, it's a completely different platform, isn't it? We'll get to that. So photos are good because, again, I think if you always try and think about the way that you use the platform, because you are the general public when it comes to Instagram scrolling, photos capture your attention. You've got that information, and how easy is it just to go, yeah, I like that, because it looks nice, the lighting's nice, what you're looking at is pretty, there's bright colours. It's very easy, and it doesn't really take much brain engagement to say, yeah, that's nice, I'm gonna like it. You've just engaged in the photo, you've given that account, that post, that little sort of nod to Instagram that it's a good post. Whereas if you compare that to video, the likelihood is you're not going to capture that interest quite as quickly, quite as easily. It's not a snapshot, which is why you'll find, I don't know if I'm going off track a little here, you'll find a lot of people, if they try and share just a video, there will be this quick snapshot that will flash up first, and they've edited that video and they've essentially put a photo as one frame of the video and chosen that frame as the cover picture. So it's the first thing you see and will also be the thumbnail on your page, because generally video you're not going to get as high a quality capture in sense of resolution or color grading, but it also gives people that quick punchy wow, that's great, because photos can get that sort of idea across a lot easier than a video.
Definitely. It's going to come back on screen because I'm
Sorry,
showing the guys
video.
your work. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's very picture heavy. So pictures work sort of, is they good?
Pictures work very
What
well.
about hashtags? How do we use them to grow our Instagram following to 100,000 people? Because it's interesting what happens with them, isn't it? They're basically rubbish, but also good.
No, they're not rubbish. You're the worst. Hashtags are very important, but sometimes they can, it's like shooting yourself in the foot. I'll try not to go on too many tangents here. Hashtags are used to tell people what your post is about. I'm sure most people watching this are aware of what a hashtag is, but they are your way of reaching a new audience, because people will search hashtags, whether it not be just for entertainment or educational purposes. They'll search a hashtag that's of interest to them, and there is your opportunity to be found by people that don't currently follow you. The difficulty with hashtags is that even though Instagram proclaims it does not exist, they're lying, it exists. You can get shadow banned, and there are certain hashtags within Instagram's platform that they put a ban on, but they don't tell you. That there is no information about what is a banned hashtag or why, but generally it's because it's been misused. There's been pornographic content, or it's been spammed too much.
This isn't by you, this is by other people.
By other people who are obviously using a popular hashtag. I know before I've tried to share content where I've used the gym and I'm training legs and I'm training glutes, and I'll have put some sort of hashtag in that's included glutes, as in the muscle in your bum, but it's been banned because too many people have abused that hashtag for obvious reasons, perhaps, or perhaps not obvious if you're sharing fitness content. And when that happens, your post gets removed from all hashtags, not just the evil one. It will be removed from all hashtags, and it's kind of rumor in the Instagram community rather than fact. But when something gets shadow banned, it also seems to not go out to your followers. You don't get that same reach. And personal experience is my following few posts are also damaged. I don't get the same reach. It's like I've been put in a naughty corner and said, you used a bad hashtag, so we're going to hide everything from now on. That's Instagram's voice. Yeah. So it's difficult. That is why they're a little bit like, oh damn it, I'm trying to do a good thing here by reaching people that want to see my content, but then suddenly you can actually do harm. But that being said, I still use them because of the value that they have. I use something called a hashtag pyramid, where
I like this is good.
Oh yeah, this bit's allowed in. A hashtag pyramid where you're allowed 30 hashtags per post. I have never had any evidence shown that not using all 30 has any benefits over using all 30. So I use 30 hashtags per post. I will include a small number of very specific tags. So if I am doing a hollow back pincher with eagle legs, for those not doing yoga, you'll have no idea, then I might hashtag hollow back pincher eagle legs. I mean, it's super, super specific. I've never used that tag, but you get the idea. Therefore, if someone finds that hashtag, they're so specifically targeted that term, they're more likely to want to engage in your post and ultimately, hopefully, follow you. I then use a medium number of medium hashtags. I hope this is making sense. So it's all about the amount that the hashtag has been used. So very, very specific hashtags will have very little use because they're so niche. Medium hashtags will have a medium number of use, and that's generally...
When you say use, you mean other people have used
other
them in their
people,
posts.
yeah.
So it might say like 300,000 used.
Yeah, so the library of hashtags. So medium usage, I would say it depends on the size of your account, because smaller accounts want to target smaller numbers. I'm tangenting, but middle hashtags, you're looking somewhere around the 50,000 to 200, 300,000, and then another smaller number of big hashtags. And by big hashtags, I mean they might have 1 million posts. Anything more than 1 million, unless you've got 1 million followers, you're probably wasting your time on, because you'll post that and in the hashtag feed, you'll disappear within seconds because so many people are using it. But if you use some that are huge, so I don't know, 800, 900,000, you are being potentially seen by a huge number of people, and you might get lucky. You might get seen by people that are interested in your content. I hope that made sense.
Okay, yeah, so the idea is you pick very specific, so
very specific.
In Google we'd call it long tail keywords.
Yes.
Going
yeah.
into more general kind of keywords if we're
Yeah.
using YouTube language to make sense of it.
Yes.
Let's just go back to the questions here. We've got Mike McDonald saying, I feel like hashtags become like SEO. You can't just spam generic ones. Does hashtag yoga work, or more descriptive hashtags like hashtag yoga journey or hashtag yoga challenge?
Yeah, so I feel that's kind of what we were just saying.
Yeah.
Hashtag yoga, I think, has, I don't know, 20 million tags on it or something.
What would you
something
have
enormous.
to do to rank number one for that?
You would have to have
Your glutes
millions of followers. So you'd have to be Yoga Girl yourself, basically, if you don't know yoga. Yoga Girl is like the pioneer of Instagram yoga. She's got 2.5 million followers. She created a hashtag that these days has over 1 million tags. She's very, very successful. So Yoga Girl.
I've heard of her.
Yeah, Rachel.
She's like Yoga of Adrienne, but of the
Instagram,
version.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
She has books, she has courses, retreats. Anyway,
So,
she might rank under hashtag yoga. I don't stand a chance.
So let's have a look. We've got another question from Mob.
But it's not ranking. It's not the same as YouTube. It's top posts and
worse.
recent. So.
Anyway, in a bit we're going to pivot to Liv's YouTube journey.
Oh yes.
And then you'll be able to make your mind up as which one is a better platform, because she'll show you that YouTube is. Anyway, so I've got to make it more interesting by just arguing with you. It sounds great, I'm sure. So Walter's World has come in here. Someone said before that, best yoga teacher ever. Thank you very much, Megan. I didn't realise she'd been watching my content.
Megan takes a lot of my classes.
Oh, welcome, Megan. Thanks for coming on.
Megan has nailed her crow pose recently.
Yes,
so have you.
So yeah, what do you put in the hashtags in the actual description? Do you put it in the IG post, or do you put it in the first comment?
There is no evidence that suggests that one is better than the other. I put them in my caption just because I like to prepare my captions in advance, so that when I'm busy I can just throw my post out there. If you put it as a separate comment, you can't go back and edit. You can delete the comment if you want to get rid of those hashtags, but often I will want to edit and perhaps. That being said, I don't edit very often, but if you've realised you've made a mistake in your hashtags, you just have to delete them and then repost. It also, people sometimes say that they don't like to see hashtags in captions, but who are you offending by putting hashtags at the bottom? It's not, there's no evidence of one being better than the other. It's just personal preference.
That's good. You just answered Mike McDonald, came back and asked the same thing too. So that's really good. So one more thing we'll discuss about growing your Instagram following before we move on to YouTube. Collaboration. How do you collaborate yourself with other people to grow your following, and how has that helped you?
Doing these yoga challenges that I spoke about, so that I started with, I now host them now as a yoga teacher, and the content I share. So I host them where I'll say, I get together with a group of other yoga teachers or yoga influencers. We create, let's say, a week-long challenge, and each day there is information we put out and people participate. So that's a way that I've grown my following, because to participate, everyone has to follow the other host. So it's a way of networking with other people's followers. It's kind of, it's not the best thing ever because people can just unfollow after the challenge. But more recently, what I've found to be more useful for sustainable, and by sustainable I mean they follow and they want to follow and they'll stay following, is to target repost accounts. So repost accounts aren't individuals, but they're ran by an individual, and they repost all the good quality content that's out there on their niche. So obviously for me it's yoga, and they have huge followings because obviously everything they're posting is super high quality. It's super high. They're not bad. Type in yoga practice.
Okay.
Everything's super high quality. Every single post is really helpful, and it's the type of thing that one single person just wouldn't be able to have the time to create. So they have huge followings because they are reposting everyone's very good content, and so to be reposted on these accounts, of which there are loads, and most of them have in the hundreds of thousands of followers, if not millions, the nice ones put your name, your tag at the top of their content and say, content provided by Live in Leggings or whoever, and therefore people who have found value in that post can then come to your page. They can see if that, if most of your content has a similar vibe to that, and then choose to follow you. So that is a very good tool to grow your account, and something that I have been lazy with in the past, but when I'm feeling very motivated on Instagram, is you can tag these accounts in your content. So if you have put out so for me, for example, I'll put out a post that's teaching alignment in a certain yoga pose, I might tag the account called Yoga Alignment, because not only am I sort of saying, hey guys, I've just posted an alignment post, you might want to repost this, it also then appears in this very large account's tag feed. So I don't know, can you open Instagram for anyone?
I'm just trying to get into your statistics for your YouTube channel.
Anyway, when you go onto someone's page, you obviously have their feed, but just to the side it shows their tags. So if you have tagged a big account in your posts, you will appear in that tagged post. So again, it's just about letting more eyes see your content.
Brilliant. So we're going to move on to YouTube now. I was just trying to log into your YouTube stats, but I wanted to show them the back end of what you've been doing. So Liv has got a big following on Instagram, so you'd think, oh, well, if you started a YouTube channel, it should be quite easy to then grow a YouTube channel. Is that what you thought? Talk us through what you expected to happen when you started your YouTube channel and why you started it.
So I started a YouTube channel quite a little while ago now. I just filmed on my phone at home and put some videos up. And I then abandoned it because it was just such hard work the way that I was doing it. I think I did have higher expectations of the transfer of one platform's followings to the other. So I think it would probably be honest to say that I was disappointed in the transfer, how many subscribers I got in relation to my Instagram followers. But upon reflection, Instagram is like I was saying, it's an entertainment platform, and a lot of people might follow an account like mine because some of the shapes are impressive and they are sort of wow pictures, handstands and back bends. They're things that most people can't do, and therefore they create a wow feeling. Even if they have absolutely no interest in ever practicing yoga in their life, they might follow me because it's a pretty picture. Whereas people wanting to subscribe to a channel on YouTube, they need to be yoga fans. And not only do they need to be yoga fans, they need to be yoga fans that practice at home, not in a studio, or at least sometimes practice at home. And of all those ones that practice at home, they have to like my style of teaching as well. So suddenly this big pool that I started with got cut down and then cut down and then cut down again. And that's, I guess, where that number transfer comes across. So yeah, I was disappointed. I'm over it. I'm happy. And even though it's a smaller number, I value it so much more.
So if Instagram's sort of the entertainment bit,
yeah,
you started your YouTube channel because you wanted to go into more deep dive content.
Yeah, educational. I didn't want to be, and I never really want to be an influencer because it's not me at all. I want to teach people yoga. I want to do what I'm good at. I want to do what I'm passionate about, which is teaching yoga. And Instagram is not a good platform for sharing in-depth information. I've tried it. It failed.
Well, it is interesting. So if you do look at Liv's Instagram, you'll see that recently you've taken a really big shift towards trying to educate on there as well, haven't you?
Yes.
As well as YouTube at the same time. So doing these educational content on both platforms, has that had any impact on your business? What sort of things has that brought about?
I think it's making a lot more people realise I am a teacher. I'm not just a girl that does yoga. I can actually offer value to you, and I can teach you, and I can do these things. So I think it's helped establish my business more. What else are you getting at?
What else am I getting at?
No, I just don't know if I answered your question.
You answered my question. There's no right or wrong answers here. We haven't planned this.
Yeah, there is a right and wrong answer, I'm sure.
That's great, Liv. Thanks. So it was more that I was getting at. It's
See?
Businesses are always told to post educational stuff, right?
Yes.
Not promo and that sort of thing. And it carries over into the influencer side of things now. And there's also a lot of evidence that's starting to show that influencers who don't post anything of value are not going to be influencers forever.
I see, yeah.
So I was just trying to get at the side that it makes a difference no matter who you are, business or personality.
Yeah.
You've either got to be, because let's face it, if you're not educating, you're a model. You're a yoga model. And you know, you get old. That information and that knowledge won't live, will it? So it's future proofing. But that's not the only reason. But yeah, it's for me, it's all about education, and that's rubbed off on you.
I guess it depends what your goal is. If you want to be a yoga model, then great.
Fine.
Then you don't really need a YouTube channel. But I want to teach, and I want to reach new people to teach. So that's what I want people to know me as.
Yeah, good. So just going to say a quick hello to a few people who have joined us.
Hello.
Hello, Rob. So Rob's the guy who told us
Rob.
to. Yeah. Rob is another YouTuber. Go check out his channel. He does a lot on live stream, Rob Balasabas, and he told me to go live. And I'm quite enjoying it now. So thanks, Rob. There's also Scott from Virtual Dinner Party and Simon, who's loving the anti-desk yoga. And then Dave.
Hi, Dave.
The other guy on the YouTube channel. So, are we going to play a game now?
Okay, I love games.
As we build up to the why YouTube is better for generating business and so on.
That's not the title of the video.
Oh, sorry, Instagram versus YouTube. Sorry. Okay, we're going to play Top Trumps.
Okay.
I haven't got any cards. I should have done. I just want to have a quick fire round of what is better on each platform, okay?
Okay.
So let's start with the first one. Instagram versus YouTube. Which one is better for reaching people, getting seen?
Instagram.
Why?
Because it is an entertainment platform where you put out content that captures attention and has an easier ability to be seen by more eyes.
Even though
I don't know the algorithms behind YouTube and Instagram, but I feel what
Don't worry, I'm not going to get involved. That's cool. Okay, so it's good
you
to
said
have...
there's no wrong answer.
There is on this one. It's good to have different perspectives. Obviously, I'm wrapped up in YouTube world.
Yes.
And you go in both. So from a business point of view or a personal brand point of view?
Personal brand, businesses is a little, I mean, obviously my business is a bit of an anomaly because it's a aesthetic business. I can do a yoga pose, I can't just hold a can of paint or something. Yeah. It's not quite the same. But Instagram is I feel like Instagram is the best platform for brand awareness, whereas YouTube is more a place for that content that would be more likely to convert you to a customer or a client or a
interesting
whatever you're after.
Okay, I'm going to leave that answer there. Good answer. Well done, Liv.
Thank you.
There's no right or wrong answer
but
here.
That one was right.
There's answers. So next one, Top Trumps, Instagram versus YouTube, lead generation.
So by lead generation, you mean...
when someone fills out an inquiry form on your site.
Okay.
Call that a lead.
YouTube.
YouTube?
Yes.
Why?
Because...
Let's imagine you've got no following for both of these and you have to pick one to build up, not in your position. So you've got to start from scratch. Ooh. What do you think is going to be better in the long run for lead generation?
Well, in the long run, you're talking two different games here. I think they both have their place. Am I allowed to say that answer?
Yeah, you can. It's Top Trumps. They have draws sometimes, don't they?
Yeah,
so draw.
I would say because YouTube is somewhere where people will spend more time watching your video. They're not just going to scroll past it because you've not grabbed their attention in 1 second. They're more likely to get a feel for who you are, that trust and that familiarity with you or your brand or whatever it is you're talking about. Whereas Instagram is good to make people aware of you, but I'm not sure it builds that same level of like relationship, that trust of knowing who it is that you're interacting with.
Okay, fine.
It's just my opinion.
That's your opinion. I know. Please don't heckle her in the comments. I mean, I'm going to go and heckle you afterwards. So, top trumps, Instagram versus YouTube, business opportunities. Now, I can't remember what I said to you beforehand that I meant by that.
Well,
if you can, it'd be really helpful to step in and answer it.
I feel like it's hard to not obviously give my opinion to anything other than yoga, because that's where my knowledge is. But I feel like in the niche that I'm in, people don't understand the value of YouTube yet. I don't know if that's just because I've always come across poor people that work in the marketing departments of the companies I work with, but they don't quite grasp the idea that this video that I'm creating, I might at the moment have a small following, but that content's going to be there forever, and it's going
so you're
to...
talking about the brand partnership side of things. They haven't realised that when you sponsor a YouTube video.
Yeah, whereas on Instagram you might put that ad out or that information about something, but it's gone within sometimes a day. And so if you're talking business opportunities in terms of how you can use each platform, I feel YouTube has a much better business opportunity, because it's that sort of there's more of a trust there, there's more of personality and actually knowing what companies you're dealing with, and the content has the longest lifespan. I mean, I watch videos that are 7 years old, and I'm sure they've been watched for 7 years. So I'm not sure if that's what you were asking, but there's some information.
That's fair enough.
YouTube.
Starting from scratch again, if people are picking a platform to have a go at now, they've come out of lockdown, they're like, I'm going to finally do it. What's the best one for making money on? For personal brands or brands, do you think?
When do you want to get paid?
Next
week or 5 years' time?
In the future, do you know what I mean? Over a 10-year period, what one's going to make you more money?
Ooh. I've not prepared an answer.
Think of Yoga with Adrienne.
Well...
Is she beating Yoga Girl?
Do you know what? I'd love to know that. I think she probably is. Yoga with Adrienne is probably winning by a long stretch.
To give you an idea of how big yoga is online, if I went on Google Trends today, just doing some research for video, and typed in YouTube, and the third trend in the entire world was Yoga with Adrienne's YouTube. So out of every search in the world, so she's crazy.
she's doing very well. She's got a lot of content out there, and she's a good teacher. And
so if you look at it from the point of ad revenue, brand partnerships, but also for businesses, lead generation.
Look, I know you love YouTube. You want me to say YouTube?
No, I'm not. I've got to fight back a bit. It's going to be boring.
Yes. YouTube, I would say, is better. It's also.
But I haven't made you say that. Be honest.
No. Okay, YouTube.
Okay, good answer, Liv. Okay, fine. So that kind of covered the brightest future part of it. If you were to start from zero and go for 10 years, do you think the brightest future for that person could be just targeting YouTube?
Yeah, I feel like if I could rewind the clock, I would have started YouTube a long time ago, because I didn't realise its value or potential, or I actually didn't even realise that you could get paid by YouTube itself. I didn't realise they paid you for ads. I mean, maybe that's worth telling people. YouTube pays you for ads.
When did you realise that?
I think when you told me.
Oh, you had no idea before that you could get your content monetized?
No, it was more like when I started first filming on my phone with another phone tucked in my sports bra. That was fun times. It was more of a way to another platform to share on social media.
Okay.
To get, sponsorships or that sort of thing. No, I didn't know.
So let's move on to YouTube. And just talk about through your journey. So a lot of people who watch our channel are starting from fresh or trying to build something, or businesses that don't have a very big following.
Uh-huh.
Now, your YouTube channel, because you had 100,000, what was it, 70,000 people I think when you started, that you could drive towards YouTube. And we spoke about this earlier. It gives you a bit of a bump, but it wasn't as quick as you thought.
Yes.
How long did it take you to go from, I think it was March we started?
Yep.
Yeah, so how long did it take you to get to 1,000 subscribers where you were monetized? Can you remember?
So I've been monetized for about 2 months. So it took me, what's that, maybe 2 months?
2 months.
Two-ish
Okay.
months.
So that's why your following
8
is
weeks, 8 to 10 weeks.
Because for most people, this is what I tried to tell you when you were disappointed.
Yes,
It's like this takes
yeah.
most people years. But one of the really interesting things about what you did
Uh-huh.
is when you get monetized, you have to get 1,000 subscribers and 240,000 watch minutes in a year.
Yes.
And you got the subscribers really quick, but the watch time took ages, right?
Yes.
What did you do to make your watch time increase incredibly quick? I'm going to show a picture.
He's going to
of
love this. I did my classes live, of which I was very hesitant to do at first because I was like, oh, I can't go live, that's scary. And somebody was like, you got to go live. It helped that a global pandemic came in and I kind of had no choice. So by teaching live, obviously yoga classes are, well, the ones that I was teaching were 45 minutes, some of them were 60 minutes. And even if I only have, I don't know, 10 people doing that class, if it's an hour's class, I've suddenly got 10 hours of watch time just like that. And then obviously that class saves to my channel. And because of the nature of the type of videos I make, classes, generally people don't quit halfway through. I mean, they might do if they, I don't know, suddenly have to leave, but it's not the type of content where you're just on your phone watching a little video and, oh, right, I've had enough now. You watch the whole class. So by live streaming, my watch time did pretty well.
Yeah, so I think if you are really you've got the subscribers already and you really want to try and get monetized,
Yes.
I'll just show this to camera because I couldn't log in on this computer. So this is what I'm going to show now is Liv's graph of where she started doing YouTube in March and the difference it made from lives. And this is, I don't know if you're going to see this very well or not. No.
Well, you can see a big blue blob.
Basically, this little blue blob here is where she went live, and then all the way across here is just not doing lives. Sorry, you
Wait, I
can't
feel
see
like
that.
maybe if you hold it here, because
Yeah, you can see that big blue blob.
Yeah, before the blue blob, it's just a straight line.
Yeah, so the impact of going live for Liv's channel. Now, she didn't have 20, I think about 24 was probably the most you've ever had watching at one go, 28.
Yeah.
So you don't need tons and tons of people to grow your watch time. And then once you've released it, of course, it turns into a video.
Yeah.
So let's have a little talk about your YouTube now.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost track where were my questions.
Brightest future, done that, keep going.
Yeah, okay. So let's talk about, coronavirus hit, yoga teacher lost your entire business.
Yep.
What did you do to, this is one of the things that I've sort of marketed, this is with 1,000 subscribers, not monetization, no brand partnerships.
Yeah.
You managed to replace your entire yoga business on YouTube. Talk us through that.
Yes. So every yoga teacher and their dog went online when coronavirus hit. But there were the options of, you could have gone behind paywalls. For instance, you could have gone to Zoom and made people pay for access to that class. But I kind of didn't like that idea. I liked the idea of being able to share yoga for anyone that needed it, particularly in the sense that, the world is turning on its head and some people, I lost my income, so I'm sure there's a lot of other people that lost their income, and I wanted to put it out anyway. But obviously in a way of trying to make ends meet, I made them donation based. So I have a PayPal account, and you can just donate to my classes if you found value in them, if you wanted to support me as a yoga teacher. And I was very lucky that people found value in my class and people had good warm hearts and they donated towards my classes. There was a combination of people that I had previously taught in real life who just switched to practicing with me online. They continued to support me, but also obviously I was quite lucky in having a social media reach. Although that being said, before coronavirus, I didn't do too much educational content. I did some. And there's people from all over the world that can practice with me now. And, I think when it comes to yoga, you like a yoga style / teacher rather than just liking yoga, because it can be so different. So I was lucky enough to find people that really liked my style and have continued to practice with me pretty much every week, and donating to the class as if they would pay if they went to a real life yoga class. So if any of you are watching, thank you so much.
I think they are. If you look at the comments down here, you've got Megan and Ellen as well.
Eleanor. Do you know what? Eleanor or Alina, I've never figured out how to pronounce your name, so let me know. Is it Alina or is it Eleanor? As in, my sister's called Eleanor. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much for listening to me yabba today as well.
So what was interesting was, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of the yoga teachers went online, but not many of them went free, donation based, right? How did they market themselves, and why did you decide to go free?
Well, I only actually turned a full-time yoga teacher last September, so I've not, even though I've been teaching for 4 years, it was very much just sort of this class here, this class there. I went full-time September, but because of where I live, it's not London. It doesn't have the same amount of people like London does in terms of yoga, people doing yoga, wanting yoga. Most of where I worked were gyms. So people that came to my classes, they paid a gym membership and they got my class essentially for free. It was part of their membership. And I guess my own fault is I don't have any contact details for those people. They don't really know who I am other than just the girl at the gym that teaches yoga. So when it came to the option of, well, how am I going to teach online? I didn't have that many contacts. I didn't have, a register of people that have come to my class. I didn't have a mailing list. I'm a terrible self-marketer. So if I was to try and close my classes off to only people who would pay in advance, would trust that, they want to do this class with me, I had a very small bubble of people that I could have advertised that to. So it made more sense to open it up for anyone to do, and if you found value in it, to donate. So it was kind of, it felt like the best decision for someone in my shoes who didn't have a very good network. I didn't even teach for yoga studios. There's only one in my local area, and it's not the style of yoga that I teach. So it wasn't as if there was even a yoga studio that would be supporting me and saying, hey guys, the studio's closed, but this teacher is doing these classes here. So I felt like it was the best choice for what I had available.
Yeah, and are you glad you did it?
Yeah, I am, because I've had so many comments and people messaging me on Instagram and just saying how much they've appreciated my classes. And I don't mean it to sound super cheesy, but it really does mean so much when you get a comment from someone saying, thank you so much for what you've put out there. It's helped me, not even just in, I can now do this, but more in a headspace, like, they've really helped me get through lockdown, or they've, and it makes it so worthwhile to know that I've made that difference. Some
of the comments you get as well, I mean, you get a lot. We just get trolled and dislikes. You get some of the comments you get almost have chapters to them. They're so long. We've just
it's
love
very
what you're
sweet.
doing,
I love
great.
all the comments, and I always put some time aside each week to get back to people and thank them for leaving comments, because they help. Because when people open your class or open your tutorial on YouTube, I read comments first to see if it's worth my time to watch. So when people leave comments that say, I really loved this, or this is really helpful, it helps me. So I think it's polite to at least acknowledge that and thank them.
Yeah.
So
that's people are often chasing on YouTube monetization, brand partnerships, leads, stuff like that. It is possible, and I think it's outside yoga as well. I think a lot of businesses could put on, and a lot of individuals could just put on lives, whether or not they do them unlisted and charge a small fee for, or do it on a donation base like this, and actually start making money quite quickly. Because there's a lot of great creators out there whose following size is way smaller than the sort of content they produce.
Yeah. And
you put a lot of time and effort into it, and so do they. So if you're thinking, I'd like to have a crack at that, I'd recommend it. An hour and a half, try and put something out there.
I think people recognise when they're being offered something of value or a service that otherwise they would have to pay for elsewhere. And humans are good people. People donate when they can, and like I say, when they feel that they've received something of value. So
after you started YouTube in March.
Yep.
So between March and now, and the entire 4 years you've been on Instagram,
yep,
which one has been more financially beneficial?
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, you win. Yeah, YouTube. But may I say, I feel that is encouraged by a global pandemic. But you know, that's devil's advocate. I don't know what would have happened without it. But yes, YouTube.
Okay, good. So I think, when was it we spoke about lives originally? It might have been December last year. You were a little bit hesitant.
Yeah.
What were you worried about when it came to going live, and how did you overcome that?
Well, it's that nervousness of messing up. Although, to be honest, I mess up in real life classes all the time, and I'm just like, oh, not like that, guys. Sorry. I don't know. I think it's fear of messing up yourself, but then also fear of judgment, because you're putting yourself out there. I mean, in my niche, putting your teaching out there is very personal, because everyone's teaching style is unique, and the things that I share and the things that I advise, some people might disagree with, and when I do share about things that perhaps have, I don't know, controversial opinions, I do try to say that and say, you know, this is my opinion, but you're kind of putting yourself out there to be judged, and because it's live, you can't go back and edit it if you're like, oh no, actually I don't want to say that. You've said it now. So I guess there is that fear of, oh God, what am I going to say? Am I going to embarrass myself, sort of thing.
And how did you get over that?
You just made me do it.
I didn't make you do it.
No, you
said
just.
You wanted to do it.
I know, I'm kidding.
After I
you just
highly
get
recommended
over it.
Yeah.
You do it once and you're like, oh, I didn't die. It was fine. Like, I can do that again. And
it's kind of the same experience I've had with Rob telling me to do this. But I've been producing your lives for a few months, so I kind of knew the kit. But definitely, it takes a long time to. I'm more stressed out about the kit rather than being
it's very helpful having someone doing the tech side for you, because it's not something I've had to be too concerned about.
Although, so talking about tech, you're not shooting videos on your phone.
No, not anymore.
Talk us through kit and why you want to use cameras and lights and so on.
I did a bit of research of other people in my niche, and particularly when the virus hit, there were a lot of people teaching via Instagram Live and other platforms, and something that I learnt from the first few videos I did is, and from practicing online myself, how important audio is. You know, you're recording a video, but actually the audio is the most important thing, really.
I really hope this mic's working, because it's let me down 2 weeks now.
It'll be like that robot voice I've had in my class a few times. The audio is what is important, particularly for yoga classes, because my sort of golden rule, and I'm sorry for people that aren't here for yoga, but my golden rule for yoga is I want my students doing it to be able to do that without looking at the screen. If their screen shut off, I want them to still be able to practice, because my instructions are clear enough, they understand where their limbs are meant to be going, and you can't achieve that if you have all this echo in the room, because you know the mic from the camera is picking it up and it's miles away, and then there's that crackly interference. And I watched a lot of other people's videos just to sort of get a idea of quality and what was working, what wasn't. And shooting on your phone and using your phone mic to pick you up is it doesn't look like an experience that I would want to take part in. It doesn't look like something I would want to rewatch, and it just looks a bit naff. Is that fair to say? Yeah,
well, you're definitely making a lot of effort for quality. Just so there's a lot of people who want to edit on their phone to get started and so on, and I'm not sure what you were doing originally with your content.
It was awful.
Now you're using Final Cut Pro, Photoshop.
Yes.
And you're doing that on a regular basis. What would you say to someone who was working on their phone, and why do you think they should upgrade to something like that, even though it costs?
Well, I'm learning to invest in myself, and that it's actually worthwhile. And
well done, Liv.
Thank you. But it's daunting for someone that is in a low-earning job to invest in things. It doesn't come naturally to me, but it does. You put a ceiling on yourself if you don't, because if you can't if you can't sort of keep bettering your quality content and things like that, you're never going to come across as legit, I guess is the word I'm looking for. You're never going to come across as something that people want to return to and keep watching your content, because ultimately it doesn't matter what your video is about, you want people to enjoy the experience of watching or listening to it. Doesn't matter if you're educating, if you're entertaining, you have to make the experience enjoyable. And I don't like watching pixelated screens where people are jumping and I'm trying to figure out what they say and they're actually saying something 2 seconds after they've done it because there's a delay, and so you get out what you put in, sort of thing. You know, if you're using good quality stuff, editing and things, then this thing, then your product, your overall product, what you're producing, will look better quality. So it's worth it.
Yeah, as long as
but
you
scary.
As long as you can. Yeah, it definitely is. I think.
I mean, I'm lucky. You had a mic and you had the cameras, and but you know, there are incremental steps that would take you to that point.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things I always thought, because I started editing when I was a kid and making videos when I was a kid, and to look at someone editing on a phone or an iPad on a free app, I always think you need to make that jump and have some financial pain behind it to drive you to the next step. And once you do that and you learn, you'll never look back. Because would you go back to editing on your phone?
Oh my god, it was awful. No. my finger trying to crop the end of a video.
I remember saying to you, why did you stop making videos for YouTube? And you said it was taking too long to put together.
I used to have an old iPhone 4 that I would connect a mic to, and I'd tuck that iPhone down the side of my bra so that would have an audio, because obviously with yoga I had to be able to move. I'd then put my iPhone on I'd prop it up against a cup or something to film me. I would then airdrop the audio to my phone and go on iMovie and try and get them to align. And then I had a little beginning. They're still on my YouTube. Like, I'm impressed with myself, to be fair, considering how I did it. But just with my finger, it was very, very stressful and not very. It was a lot of work. And because I couldn't edit, I couldn't cut, I couldn't make any cuts. If I messed up, I had to start again. And when you've done a 45-minute strength building yoga class, basically you don't start again, you just bin it and you give up. So,
so if we look back at it then, we'll draw things towards an end now.
Yeah.
If anyone's got any questions who's watching, just dump them in the comments now, and we'll start to go through them if you've got any questions. There is one thing coming which I'm very excited about, and actually makes me like Instagram a little bit more.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Now, this is so for those of you in the Insta sphere who make content. It's the thing.
You sound like your mum.
Yeah, you've never met my mum, so
Instagreet.
Yeah. If you haven't guessed, me and Liv are girlfriend boyfriend, so she's meeting my mum the first time on the weekend. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so IGTV is rubbish. We can both agree on that.
Yeah.
But Instagram, maybe because of the whole TikTok saga, and maybe they're worried about losing people, they're going to start paying creators, people on Instagram.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, Liv doesn't believe it. They're going to start paying creators in the same way that YouTube do, but just through IGTV. Now, it's supposed to come out, they said a few months ago, in a few months, and they've started testing it. But it's quite exciting for Liv, I think, because she's got a big following and she's able to monetize. However,
you can see my lack of excitement. Firstly, I just don't. I'm dubious. Like I say, I'll believe it when I see it. Did you have a question behind that?
Yeah, sorry. I did. So one of the things that we encourage people to do all the time is to repurpose content. And I kept saying to you, put your flipping put your YouTube videos on Instagram TV, because why not? You've got it. But your reply was no, because they don't get any reach. Now, when you're in the Instagram game, you generally find that if you put out a post and the reach dies, the next one doesn't do as good, does it? Similarly
of that sort of shadow banny thing.
Yeah, it really takes a hit.
If you put out some content that isn't well received, it's like Instagram says, oh, this account's naff. And then the next thing you put out, even if it's great content, it always takes me a couple of posts to sort of reclimb back up to where I was if I put something out that isn't well received, which is frustrating.
Yeah, so the issue is currently Instagram TV is just a reach killer, isn't it?
I think some people have had success with it, and I have in the past. I've had random posts just do really well, but more recently, it's not good. I think Instagram used to boost it when it was new because they were trying to make it a good thing, so you could get quite lucky. But I don't know why they're not sort of favouring it, particularly if they're trying to make something of it. But Instagram TV tends to, I mean, they've just changed it now. So if you post something to Instagram TV and it goes onto your feed, you only get 15 seconds before someone has to click, yes, I want to go to Instagram TV and carry on watching this, whereas it used to be a minute.
And it's at that point where they'll see an ad, I think.
I would assume so, yeah.
From I've read. The problem is, from what they're saying, is you need 60,000 minutes, was it, a month of watch time to get the ads? Yeah, there's a whole thing. It's a potential big opportunity for anyone who wants to make money from it. However, unfortunately, we're not particularly convinced.
I'm not convinced. But usage of the platform would completely change if it did come in, because there are so many creators out there, so many influencers that would just force their content into Instagram TV and sort of hope that things change and catch up. But I don't know, we'll see about that. But I have tried repurposing and posting YouTube videos, only 5 minutes long, as Instagram TVs, and I've done my best to make that capture image, the first image and the thumbnail, to be something eye-catching, but generally deep educational content, as in you're really going into something thoroughly, which these videos generally are. Someone watches 10 seconds, they're like, oh, don't want to watch that, I'm scrolling past.
It's not necessarily the right mindset.
Yeah, I don't think when people are on Instagram they are there for that kind of thing. So
let's just go through and just answer a few little questions in here. Dave from Business Film Booth he says, are there any tools available to help you manage both YouTube and Instagram if you choose both? That's a good question.
What, they share the...
Yeah, so you can do it on Facebook. So using TubeBuddy, you can post, you can upload a video to YouTube and it'll ping over to Facebook. I'm not aware of anything that makes it easier, but then again, I don't think they're particularly... It's not like friends hanging around together.
No, they're kind of rivals.
Yeah, so...
It's actually quite difficult to repurpose one video from YouTube.
And there's also rumours, although not confirmed, that scheduling content and putting it on Instagram is bad for reach, right?
Yes. I don't use scheduling apps. I just try and plan in advance and then get on my phone and click share and then walk away. So I always do the posting myself. I don't use scheduling apps. I've heard too many bad things about them.
So Alina D is back. She said the second pronouncing you said, which I'm assuming is Alina.
Which one did I say first?
I think it was Alina.
I'll have to rewatch back.
Simon is obviously responding to your story. YouTube wins, cash is king. Simon generates business from his videos on YouTube.
Penny's Massacre. Do you remember when he destroyed the owl?
Yeah. We've also got some guys with some positive things. Wish I could stick for the whole conversation, but I've got to go. That's Megan. Thanks for
go do
talking in there. Yeah, and then a mesh is retracted. So on that note,
I wonder what George said.
I hope it was clean. So yeah, we're gonna call it a day now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. If you're watching this on the catch up, that sounds like a proper TV thing to say. If you have any questions, just pop them in the comments and we'll try and get Liv to answer them. If you'd like to learn more about promoting your business or your yoga fitness business or any fitness business on YouTube or Instagram, let us know, because I've been telling Liv that we need to do a joint course on it, and I need some proof that it might work. So if you're interested in marketing a business online in the fitness industry, the yoga industry specifically, just let us know. But otherwise, thank you, Simon. Keep doing what you're doing. Much love. And everyone else,
thanks everyone.
We're off. Take care.
See ya. Did that end?
Nearly off. Oh, I got so far.